Herbert West is not just your ordinary doctor.
Others dare not dream what we are about to do.
He intends to make medical history.
This is no longer about just reanimating the dead.
With the help of Daniel Kane.
It's never gonna work. She's gonna be uncontrollably spastic.
And a few select friends.
It's the Caustic Soda Podcast! Yay!
It's time to set the mics up. It's time for Tales of Woe. It's time to take the red pill on the Caustic Soda Show. It's time to do our research, unless your name is Joe. It's time to load the wiki on the Caustic Soda Show.
To introduce our guest star, that's what I'm here to do. So it makes me very hungry to introduce to you Jeffrey Combs! Yay!
But now let's get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the informational, aberrational, strangulational, nauseational, strapped in for the Caustic Soda Show.
So, let's get it started. Are you ready? Take a swig.
Is this live?
I think it's live. At the moment, it's live. I'm not sure about later.
We are all animated and reanimated here.
So, welcome live at the 2015 HP Lovecraft Film Festival. It's the Caustic Soda Special Blend with Jeffrey Combs.
That's that special blend of
humans.
Thrilled to be here.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Caustic Soda is a podcast out of Vancouver, BC.
I did not know that.
Yeah?
But I've been to Vancouver many times.
Yes,
it is a great city, and I miss it. I love it.
Nice. Well, you can come back with us.
Sutton
Kevin has
Place
an extra seat.
Sutton Place was... yeah, it's
we
a great
have a
place.
$400 duty limit, so I figure we could probably get you back over the border.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's fitting in. We're a comedy podcast that focuses on the dark, the morbid, the grotesque. Usually each episode has its own topic, like we might do rabies.
Really, rabies?
Yes,
absolutely.
for example.
Here I am drinking water, and you want to talk about hydrophobia. That's great.
We also did an episode on decapitation, which, of course, is particularly
my
appropriate.
expertise.
Yeah,
yes, that's right. Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also do episodes that kind of call back to the previous episodes. The special blend is what we call them.
All right, good.
So we also have a few questions.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Question number 1.
Uh-oh.
What was your worst injury?
My worst injury, actually, I guess I haven't had too many bad injuries, but now that you ask that, it actually occurred here in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Many years ago, I went to the University of Washington. There's an acting training program there that I graduated from, and one summer in between school years, I got a job doing 2 plays at Reed College here.
All right.
And we did Twelfth Night and we did Tartuffe.
Okay.
Pretty fancy schmancy, huh? And
Tartuffe was the sound that made when you got a head injury.
Tartuffe. No. And Twelfth Night was outdoors, unless it rained. And then it went indoors. And at one point in the play, one of the other characters has to push a trunk towards me.
An elephant trunk, and it stepped on
Yeah,
him.
big elephant trunk towards me. And, of course, because it was outdoors and on grass, he knew how much to give it, how much to push it to get it to me. Got it?
I see.
Well, when it rains, we would move the production inside to the stage. He decided to push the trunk with the force that he would have had to push it on grass outside on a smooth, varnished wood floor, and my big toe and the trunk melded in a atomic blast of
Nice.
total white pain, and I wound up going to the emergency room, and then I broke my toe.
Oh,
So,
wow.
well, what happened to the performance? Did you
You didn't
finish
channel
the
it?
Scene? Did you?
I got applause on my exit because I literally fell over the trunk onto the floor, and everybody, wow, that's really great. Not knowing that my pain was what they were laughing at.
I had no idea that you're into method injury.
Oh, God, it hurts so badly. But the show, my adrenaline got me through the show. And then I went to
Consummate professional.
emergency room, and they went, yeah, and that's freaking broken. So
All right, good times.
didn't feel good.
But you still have it.
My toe?
Yeah.
Yes,
All
I
right,
still have
good
it.
times.
Yes, it's there. It's good.
Speaking
12th
of
night, 10 toes. That's the encore performance.
12th night, 10 toes, 1 broken. Okay.
speaking of adrenaline, I forgot to do the introductions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well.
So, Warren, you're our special guest host.
I am.
Who are you?
Well, I'm Warren Banks. I am a co-founder of the Darkest of the Hillside. I think it's Lovecraft rock band.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
we've been here before with you, but in a different capacity. And I'm sitting in the third chair this particular episode because the other fellow is he's up in Canada running his own
Splinter unit.
his own franchise of the show at the Vancouver convention.
So basically, you're saying you're my peeps. Okay.
If anybody
Absolutely.
gets you, it's me.
Yes. Beautiful. And you have to write a song called Not Fresh Enough. Okay.
Kevin, who are you?
I'm one of the regular co-hosts of the Caustic Soda podcast, and I like to think of myself as the funny one, but I think the others probably think I'm just the funny-looking one.
Well.
And I am Torin. I am also one of the founding members of Caustic Soda and of the Darkest of the Hillside Thickets. And, of course,
I have heard of your band.
I think I gave you a CD last time. You
Yes.
probably just threw out the window on the way back to L.A.
Nope.
I saw it hanging from the review of his car.
That's right.
It's the highest honor a CD can have.
No, it's like Napoleon Dynamite. I tied a string to it and I threw it out the window behind me.
And, of course, Jeffrey Combs, celebrated character actor, has played against Michael J. Fox and Scott Bakula, portrayed numerous characters in the DC universe, numerous characters in the Star Trek universe, and numerous characters in the H.P. Lovecraft universe, including H.P. Lovecraft himself.
Guilty.
Nice.
So, next question. Do you have a phobia?
Do I have a phobia? No, I don't think I do. I don't think I have a phobia. I may have some little things, but no, I don't have any phobias.
You're just saying that so we can't use anything against you in the course
Yes,
of this.
exactly. It's for me to
I
know and
understand.
you to find out.
Well,
No,
I'll just put this jar of spiders away then.
nothing popped up right away, but there's probably some things I don't particularly dig.
Well, maybe
I
we'll
fear
find
that-
out through
You'll
some
find
of our
out
stories.
as we go along.
I
Yeah.
fear the great old ones, Torn. Does that count?
No, I don't think there is a rational, like, a phobia is an irrational fear
That's
of something.
right.
I don't think there's a
Irrational
rational fear of
Right.
of Cthulhu. So we had an episode in season 3 which we called Bad Books, where we talked about things such as the Necronomicon. And I'd like to bring up The Shrieking Madness is the 12th episode of the first season of Scooby-Doo Mysteries Incorporated.
Wow.
In this episode, the Scooby Gang is split up, but they all end up at Darrow University for future college prospects, where a fictional Cthulhu-like monster, Chargargothakon,
Chargargothakon
has come to life and is terrorizing the campus. In this episode, Jeffrey Combs portrayed the author of the book Chargargothakon, the beast that hath no name.
Yes. As Professor Hatecraft.
As Professor Hatecraft.
That's just good writing.
And not only that, I believe my co-star was Harlan Ellison.
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
What was it like to be animated with Harlan Ellison?
Well, listen, having a recording session with the great Harlan Ellison is an experience in itself because he's a writer. Every time he had a line, he'd go, "I'm not going to say this shit." and they were like, "Well, but we wrote it, and you've read it already." And he said, "I don't care. Let's rewrite it. This is what I'm going to say." And so it was it was very entertaining, and his wife was really patient, and Harlan.
Remember humans?
Harlan, be nice. You know, he's a wonderful man, though. He's an amazing force of nature. I was on a plane with him one time, and he had just had triple bypass surgery. This was like over a decade ago. And he just lit into a security guard at the baggage claim like I've never seen anybody do before.
Probably because he rolled the trunk into his toe.
Wow.
Harlan Ellison, he's a
we
little
almost got
spitfire.
arrested. You know, Harlan Ellison almost got me arrested.
I'd have had a T-shirt made that said that if that happened to me.
He's intensity. If you look it up in the dictionary, there's a picture of Harlan.
Now, this was the episode where I learned that Shaggy and Velma dated.
I didn't know that.
And that Shaggy dumped Velma for Scooby-Doo. They talk about this in the episode.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now that's writing right there. Yes, you're bringing up some obscure stuff here.
Research is our strong suit.
Yeah.
I did recur. I did come back and play Hatecraft in another episode.
Oh, I didn't watch that
you
one.
didn't know that, did you?
You got me there.
I did.
They were cool guys.
Now, you also played H.P. Lovecraft in the feature film Necronomicon Book of the Dead from 1993.
Yes, I did. With prosthetic chin and nose. Yes.
And how was that?
Well, it was weird because, you know, I mean, the makeup was great. But me playing Lovecraft is, you know, a bit like, you know, Mickey Rooney playing Boris Karloff. I mean, you know, I'm nothing like Lovecraft, so it was a bit of a push there.
I have a bad books related story from real life.
Let's hear it.
We'll read it out, and you can chime in or react in any way you deem appropriate.
I like that kind of freedom.
Harvard University scientists have confirmed that a 19th century French treatise in its libraries is bound in human skin. Arsène Houssaye's De Destinée de l'Âme, or On the Destiny of the Soul, is part of the antique book collection of the university's Houghton Library, which specializes in rare and antique works. Harvard conservators and scientists use several methods to test the origin of the binding material using microscopic samples. Through these tests, they were able to exclude the possibility that the book cover was made from the skin of a goat, a sheep, or another animal. They are 99% confident that the binding is of human origin, said senior rare book conservator Alan Puglia.
And that's where the Nazis got the idea.
Well, we did an episode on Ilsa Koch and her human skin lampshades and whatnot.
That's so frightening. I don't even want to think about it.
Is it a phobia?
Yes, that's a phobia. That would be anybody's phobia. Especially if someone turns to you and says, we're going to make a book cover out of you.
Oh, but what if it was a really good book?
Well, you know.
I mean,
What's your
if it
favorite
was
book?
What's my favorite
And
book?
would you want to be bound in human skin with that book?
No, God, no. My favorite book would never be
The Little Prince, isn't it?
I don't know why we're so, most books are bound or have been bound in cow skin. So why would we be skin to skin, right?
I think I'd be okay with being a lampshade.
You would?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's just the way you roll.
I'd be illuminating, right? You know? All right.
All right, everybody take a drink if you're playing at home.
The conclusions confirm the veracity of a handwritten note in French found inside the book, which said the book was bound in human skin parchment. By looking carefully, you easily distinguish the pores of the skin, added the note, written by a doctor who was a friend of the author's. A book about the human soul deserved to have a human covering, explained the doctor. The skin was taken from the back of a woman who suffered from mental illness and had died of a heart attack.
Wait, from her back?
From her back.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's the flattest part, right?
Okay.
And the
You
spine.
know what occurs to me? French. It's the French would do this,
I'm
right?
telling you.
Unbelievable.
The doctor had another book bound in human skin in his personal collection that
No.
was tanned with sumac. Sumac is a flowering shrub that
Yes.
produces fruit that is ground into a spice. Harvard said this book was the only book in its collection bound in human flesh. However, the practice, called anthropodermic bibliopegy, was
that's-
somewhat common.
What?
There are many accounts of similar occurrences in the 19th century in which the bodies of executed criminals were donated to science and the skins would be given to tanners and bookbinders.
So we're going to hang you. But before we do, would you like to be a book after you're dead?
I mean, at least if they gave him the choice, you know, I mean...
it's kind of like, well, at least I can help people... learn in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did they get to request what kind of book they were a couple
You would
of?
hope so. You'd hope it'd be like something about recidivism or,
skin maladies.
Yes.
How about that?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
A dermatological textbook would be perfect.
Exactly. That's when it's right. That's when it's right.
That's when you wrap it in the guy who had scabies or something.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes a sort of a feel and learn as well as
And then
maybe
if it has a pimple on it, you kind of have to pop the pimple. Okay.
Yeah. I think I would agree if I under the condition that they would use my face.
Oh, nice.
And if it was a children's book.
Trauma right there.
Yeah.
That would be a Facebook.
Nice. High five.
Take a drink.
For those of you who can't see, Kevin and Jeffrey are sitting very closely together, so that might explain that.
And for those of you who can't see, my tongue is down his throat. No, okay. This is great.
A dream come true.
In season 3, we had an episode we called Film Fatale, where we talked about accidents on movie sets and whatnot. I have a follow-up from 2012, Los Angeles. The veteran action stars of The Expendables 2 say a stuntman's on-set death served as a reminder of the danger behind big screen thrills. Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, and Arnold Schwarzenegger star in the film. The film was also distinctively old school in its approach to action, using minimal computer effects in favor of stunt work and real explosions. Stuntman Kun Louis, 26, was killed during one such sequence while filming at a dam in Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. I've shot 3 movies in Bulgaria. I can tell you that if that's going to happen, it's going to be in Bulgaria. Okay, go ahead.
That's one to watch out for.
I had a friend of mine worked on a movie in Romania.
I worked in a movie in Romania as well.
Exactly. And they said they had a car that they needed to shoot up. And in North America, if you need to shoot up a car, you'd rig the little squibs and whatever and punch bullet holes in the side of the car.
Right.
And in Romania, they went to the special effects guys and they said, okay, well, how long do you need to rig up the squibs and prep the car? And they said, we don't prep the car. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
They're like, well, how are you going to shoot up the car? We're going to take out our machine guns and shoot the car.
I got one. In Bulgaria, someone had to go through a plate glass window. You know where this is going, right?
Yeah. It's not candy glass.
No candy glass. The guy went, I do it. This I do many times, and he did. He went through a fucking glass window.
Stallone said that there had been deaths during 2 of his previous films and is never easy.
Yeah, well, and some of his movies just died on their own accord. Okay, go ahead.
Co-star Dolph Lundgren said in an interview that his stunt double was seriously hurt in the same explosion. He was hit in the eye by a piece of iron.
Ooh.
At the end of the credits, the film is dedicated to Kun Louis' memory, but the stuntman's parents have sued Millennium Films and the movie's stunt coordinator, claiming they were reckless in the preparations, training, and execution of the stunt. That is a nice and thoughtful gesture to the decedent and his family, but certainly it does not absolve the responsible parties of his death, said an attorney representing Kun Louis' parents.
Okay.
So, any close calls on the set that you can recall?
For me?
Besides the toe.
Besides the toe. That wasn't really on set. No, but I did witness one that wasn't particularly lovely. I was in Italy, and we were shooting in the paved courtyard. This was during a movie I did called Pit and the Pendulum. We paved courtyard, right? And this is a period piece, and so there were like Spanish soldiers on horseback, and conquistador type guys with big,
breastplates,
metal breastplates, and this guy was on a horse, and the director wanted him to rear the horse up, like and make the front legs go off. Well, okay. What they didn't plan on was that the cobblestones were slick, and the horse had horseshoes, and so when the horse reared up, whoop, and that famous breastplate went right into the stuntman's mouth. Oh! And teeth were being picked up off of the pavement as I decided to exit stage left and not deal with this hideous event.
That's a 1 horsepower accident.
That's really pretty awful. Planning is really important.
Critical.
Yeah.
You've
Critical
died a
mindset.
lot of times in your movies.
I have.
Do you have a particularly favorite way you died on film?
No, it's like an extension of when you were a kid and you were playing Army and you died. Well, you try to find all kinds of different ways to die, and so, they're all good.
You didn't like being killed, or like you got frozen to death in an episode of The Flash. I remember.
I did. I've been shot in the stomach.
Yeah.
I did get frozen in an episode of The Flash. Falling off buildings. It's a potpourri.
Every death is a unique and special snowflake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
They're
They're all different.
Pluses and minuses.
Yep.
Moving on to our season 3 episode on ghosts.
Ah.
You starred in The Frighteners
A lot of ghosts in The Frighteners.
by Peter Jackson.
The great Peter Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's one of my personal favorites. I enjoy that movie immensely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
very proud of it, and I came to that movie sort of late. Peter was looking for that character for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And couldn't find it, and I think my agents had tried to get me in there, and they said no, he's too young for the character. That's not true anymore, but at the time it was, and so. But bless him, he kind of saw something.
Well, maybe they should not that I'm disparaging your performance in any way, but they could go back now with digital technology and fit the current Jeffrey Combs. It's a little more aged.
That's true.
We had the technology.
Yeah, well, I think it worked. I don't know. It was.
I think so too. Now, I had a question about that performance. Like, it was a very stylized performance. Did you come to the table with that idea, or
What idea? Which one?
Well,
It was a collaboration.
it was a collaboration.
Yeah,
That's right.
it was kind of like Peter wanted some really definite things, and he said, I definitely want you to wear black contact lenses.
Yeah.
So that your eyes look like they're absolute dilated balls of fright and fear, and like you dropped 20 tabs of acid and never came back. And so, that was sort of the starting point.
Yeah, nice.
The haircut, that one's on me. I went to the Wellington Library and I got a picture book of young Adolf, and I went to Peter and I said, "What about that look?" And I thought he would go, "Are you insane?" But he was at the craft service table, eating chips or something.
You caught him at a moment of weakness.
I don't know. He looked down and he went, "Yeah, that'll work." And I was like, "Oh no! What did oh no!" But it kind of works for the whack.
For the character?
For the
Absolutely.
dude, he's whack.
Absolutely.
My idea was that he had just come out of being in a white supremacist group, embedded in some white supremacist group that the FBI was,
Right.
they pulled him out
Yeah.
so that he could go and investigate these ghosts. So that was sort of my...
Your backstory.
My
I like
backstory.
it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm
Yep.
surprised they didn't fold it into the overall plot.
didn't matter, did
Yeah.
it?
No, absolutely.
Did you do any training or research? Did you get any insights into the paranormal while you were getting ready for that role?
Yeah, no. I just went for it. I just, give me an FBI badge and I'm in control.
Well, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Did Peter Jackson expose you to any molds on the set?
Molds?
Yes.
What do you mean molds?
Well, I have this story, Mr. Combs. In
Oh,
April
gotcha
of
journalism.
2015,
yeah.
scientists reckon they've cracked the secret of the paranormal. They have found indisputable evidence that there is, well, not exactly life after death. They put it down to mold.
Mold
Yeah.
is where we all go.
Yeah.
After we die.
After we die, we turn into mold.
Yes, and apparently tales of ghosts and spirits have been a common theme around cultures for thousands of years, but researchers at Clarkston University in New York think that they may be able to shed some light onto the phenomenon thanks to a link between supernatural encounters and the toxic effect of subtypes of mold spores, which are inadvertently breathed in.
All right, so you're talking about mushrooms.
Well, scientifically speaking,
You're talking about
we prefer the
hallucinogenics.
term mold spore.
Okay, all right. Mold spores, but winds up like, man, I really tripped out and I saw shit in the air.
That's right. One with the universe and all that stuff.
Because I was high.
Yeah.
That's what you're... very good.
Well, basically, the scientists think poor air quality could be a contributing factor to reports in the paranormal.
Poor air quality?
Yeah.
You mean like mold in the air,
Yeah.
you inhale it,
I
and
guess
then you see shit.
You got a room full of mushrooms. You're going to
see shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Well,
it.
also, it helps when you have spores in the air. I mean, I'm sure it helps kind of coat the paranormal form a little bit, right?
Oh.
Yeah, like like when you walk through a cloud of smoke or whatever, right?
Far out.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Mr. Shane Rogers says hauntings are often reported in older built structures that may also suffer from poor air quality.
So it's not the structure that it's
haunted.
it's the atmosphere that causes you to see shit.
Yes.
Oh.
Wow, I like,
like
this. So if that's the case, all of these sort of ghost reality shows that are always shot with night vision.
Yeah. All they
How
need
come
to-
those guys never like?
Well, because they didn't aerosolize some psilocybin and like pump it up their nostrils,
Well,
right?
you know, night vision is always green.
That's
So-
Could be the mold.
This certainly explains why certain structures are haunted houses or like haunted this or haunted that because the mold is persistent.
So if you want to see a ghost, eat old bread.
Oh, there you go.
And if you don't want to see them, get out your caulking and seal up those cracks in your walls.
Right.
And
yeah.
spray your mold sections to get rid of the mold.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. A scientific explanation for a phenomenon
Yeah.
that I've never heard of before.
Before I came down, I recently watched a film starring you as mold.
Motivational growth.
Yes.
Oh.
So I would like to get an insight into what you did to get prepared to be mold.
Wow, method? Did you go
Dude,
method
I
on
had
the
so
mold?
many lines in that. I'm so glad that I got to read it because pages upon pages of dialogue there. But
What's the basic plot of the film?
basic plot of Motivational Growth is that a young man who has not left his shitty, moldy, filthy apartment for a year and a half. He just can't leave.
Agoraphobic or whatever.
Agoraphobic, but also just trauma. And his only friend is his old 1960s console television. And the television goes on the fritz. And so he's got nothing to live for anymore. So he decides to kill himself. He falls and hits his head. And when he wakes up, the mold that's growing in the corner of the bathroom starts talking to him and giving him advice.
Right.
Quite often that advice is not very good.
I got it. I can imagine the kind of advice mold gives, right? Like,
Can you? 'Cause
breathe deeper, right? You
yes,
know,
right. Listen to me.
Yeah.
And,
Mold does not give sound moral decisions.
Well, actually, in that movie, I kept correcting him because the actual title is The Mold.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
The other advice: throw out your Tilex.
Yes,
Right? You know, leave the shower running 24 hours a day.
Exactly, and don't buy any cleaning products whatsoever.
precisely.
You know.
Did you get to be on set and be part of the...
No.
Was it a puppet? Was it computer animated?
It was
mold?
totally a puppet. It was shot in Chicago, and I did my recording before they ever shot a frame in L.A. And then they actually sort of took my my dialogue and rehearsed with the physical mold puppet until they could synchronize. And then when they shot it, you know, there were actually puppeteers
moving the mold.
Moving the mold.
Moving the mold.
That's a resume pattern.
That's better
right
than
there.
CGI, if you ask me.
Yeah. Mold puppets. Love it.
It seemed natural. I'd look into it, piece together that gap of memory when I tried to
All right, Jeffrey, let's talk Star Trek.
Yes, let's do that.
Deep Space Nine. You played a character named Weyoun.
Weyoun is of the species the Vorta, and the Vorta have been genetically altered to enhance their absolute blind loyalty to the Dominion, an evil power in the galaxy, and so we do their bidding.
Yes.
But in a pleasant way.
And why do you say we? Was there more than one Weyoun?
Oh, yes, of course there were more than one Weyoun. You know how that happened, don't you? The very first time I played Weyoun, I was killed.
Right.
I have to point out, and maybe I'm showing my age, but I was thrilled that I was killed by the actor Clarence Williams III from Mod Squad fame.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah, some applause for Link there. And so I was killed by somebody I used to watch on TV. So to me, see, that's where I'm at. I'm a fan too.
Absolutely.
And then they said later, why did we kill him? Why did we kill that character? And so somebody said, well, we could clone him.
Science fiction.
So they'd kill me, and then I'd show up, and they'd kill me, and I'd show up, and they'd...
That's the highest compliment that any actor can receive, is that once they murder you, they desperately want to bring you back somehow.
It's job security.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Anyway, so
I'm surprised they didn't just ask you to reanimate yourself.
Ooh.
No.
Crossover.
Well,
Herbert West shows up to bring Weyoun back.
Well, they didn't go that far. They decided not to go where no man has gone before. I love it.
Our listener, Tara Murphy from Newfoundland, who says hi, by the way.
It's Newfoundland. I've been to Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, or...
Newfoundland is fine. I haven't been there. What do I care?
Well, you're Canadian. You would know.
She says to ask Jeffrey about the makeup for Commander Shran.
The makeup for Commander Shran. Wow. Very multi-layered there. First and foremost, I had to put on a sort of form-fitting little mohawky plastic thing on my head that had the little two metal spiny things, so they attached that. Then they covered that with the wig, and I had a little gearbox back in the nape of my neck.
What?
And wires down my back to a transmitter on my belt, which went to a joystick. I don't want any jokes about that. To a joystick where a puppeteer, that's what he was called, would move my antenna.
Oh.
They didn't just have a little man on your back, strapped to your back the whole time?
Yeah, no, they didn't, actually.
It's a lost opportunity, if you ask me.
Well, Yeah.
Of course, Commander Shran was from Star Trek Enterprise. He was the Andorian.
Yes, he
kind
was.
of the foil of Commander Archer.
And all of you are pinkskins.
Yes.
There you go.
And executive producer Manny Cotto and writer Michael Sussman have both stated that had the show been renewed for a fifth season, Combs would have been made a regular cast member.
Yeah, thanks for that.
It would have really...
It's kind of one of those, I love you. No, and that would have been great. However, that's an alternate universe. It did not happen.
Did you ever think that they went to the network and said, we want to make Jeffrey Combs a regular, and then they went,
you're canceled! Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Hey, we have this idea. You're canceled! You know. Yeah, probably. No, I take that as a high compliment indeed, but it doesn't help me.
Was the Andorian character the best or worst makeup experience on the show?
No, the worst makeup is the Ferengi. Those orange butts are not comfortable. Big ears, and you cannot hear. How about that?
Right.
Oh, wow. Nice.
They're like wearing gluing a helmet to your head, literally,
Right.
and you can't your entire head can't breathe, and at the end of a 16-hour day when that thing comes off, you've not heard such things in the makeup trailer. When
That's blessed relief.
Oh my God, I'm alive.
Do they have special sign language to move you around if you can't hear them?
It's like having a really bad head cold, and you can't modulate what you're doing. You can't think you're loud or quiet. It's like cup your ears over and then all day
and act.
Do that and then act.
Yeah.
So
do you have any tricks of the trade in case you missed one of your other cast members' lines that would be your lead-in, or did you learn to lip read?
A little bit of just kind of go with it and hope and pray that it works.
Yeah. You find out very quickly who the other cast members are that don't move their lips very much.
Right.
Yeah.
This ties in with our Season 1 episode on space warfare, and I have a follow-up from September 2015. This comes from motherboard.vice.com. When most of us think of space warfare, we picture the Hollywood variety. Starships firing lasers while at warp speed. Like that?
Yeah.
But in reality, the state of modern orbital warfare looks more like a slow-burn political thriller. The first regulations on military use of space were laid out during the space race, with the horror of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing still fresh in people's minds. Many were rightly petrified atomic warfare would spill into outer space. Their fears were validated by the fact that both the U.S. and the USSR detonated atomic bombs in space during the early 1960s.
No.
True story.
I didn't know that.
To prevent the possibility of mushroom clouds raining down from space, 89 nations signed the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which banned nuclear weapons in space and prohibited weapons of mass destruction. In the decades since 1967, weapons have become more sophisticated. For example, the complicated problems sparked by technologies such as anti-satellite weapons. It may seem like a no-brainer to simply outlaw the launch of any satellite that can damage other spacecraft, but as it turns out, hundreds of satellites could fit this description. What looks on paper like a benign mission to clear up space debris could end up being an
Did you just say debris?
could end up being an anti-satellite project
You know
in
what
disguise.
that is. It's not debris.
I'm from Canada. The same technologies that can help us service malfunctioning satellites
He can't help himself.
can also be used to tamper with other satellites or create more debris by shooting spacecraft down. Military leaders from the U.S., Russia, and China have been particularly invested in developing these kinds of technologies for outer space, and occasionally they will demonstrate their capabilities. In 2007, for example, the Chinese Space Agency performed a kinetic kill on one of its own satellites by shooting it down with a ground missile. It caused a massive amount of debris in high levels of space where it can do major amounts of harm. To this day, they have never officially said what they did or why they did it. Over the summer, this past summer...
It was just for kicks. Just, firing bottle rockets at your buddy on Halloween, right?
No big deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Over the summer, European Union diplomats convened a meeting between major spacefaring nations. The goal was to discuss a proposed code of conduct for outer space activities, which aims to keep space militarization in check. Unfortunately,
they did it in Morse code, and half of them couldn't understand it. It was the Morse code of conduct.
They were all. Maybe they were all wearing Ferengi headpieces at the conference, and nothing got accomplished.
The gathered diplomats representing over 100 countries could not come to an agreement about the terms for the code of conduct. One of the major stumbling blocks for the negotiations was the firm U.S. position that the code explicitly grant all nations the right to self-defense, a stance that some see as a tacit loophole for amping up American military domination of space. This scuffle over the parameters of self-defense is a microcosm of general global tensions about the ownership and use of space, while only a few nations on Earth have the ability to visit, study, and weaponize orbit. The Outer Space Treaty ensures that, legally speaking, outer space belongs to all Earthlings. What's happening now is there is no political will, says Joanne Grabinovich, a prolific space lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
A space lawyer.
Oh, yeah. She wears one of those silver reflective suits, right?
Your Honor, I represent Jupiter, and I would like... No. Okay.
Professor Emerita at the University of Mississippi said the spacefaring nations don't want to limit themselves and they don't trust one another. 100 years from now, my successor is going to stand in front of a classroom and say, oh, back then in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, that's when this new system was created.
I'm not quite sure the point of this. Is it that you should be free to blow up anybody's satellite up in space because it's open territory? Is that the idea?
I think that's the what they hope to avoid.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's kind of
they
like
wanted to avoid the Debris.
Yeah.
You're almost there. You're almost there. Practice.
Debris.
Yeah,
Debris.
This is kind of just an international water situation, it seems
Yes,
like.
it's
the wild, wild
it's
west up
maritime
there.
law.
Yeah.
It's maritime law.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
I think like a space lawyer is something you become when you want to be an astronaut, but your parents want you to become a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Your
I can see
Honor,
that.
high flying object.
You know what would be ironic? What would be ironic is if, as a space lawyer, she actually was just in charge of negotiating deals between tenants in like commercial spaces and stuff. And then somebody wanted to get on top of this, and they saw space lawyer in the elevator.
Space lawyer.
And,
I've got the person we
called
need.
her, and she's like, "Yeah, I can take care of that." And she starts just
Space
billing like
lawyer.
nobody's business.
Space lawyer.
I wonder if
Wow.
she, she bills by the, solar calendar or the Jovian calendar.
Lunar.
or
How are we doing for time? Is it time for the
Dun,
lesser
dun, dun.
Do we have a quiz?
the lesser of two evils?
It's like a would you rather kind of thing?
Bing, 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 bing.
Are you familiar with this concept?
Well, I did a movie by that title.
We play a game. We play a game called Lesser of Two Evils on our podcast on a regular basis.
Okay.
Especially when we have special guests.
And this is frightening because I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Go!
We basically take two horrible situations.
And I have to pick
And you have to pick which one.
Which one I would.
Which is the lesser of
Which
two
is
evils?
the lesser
To
of
me.
the two evils
Yes.
for you. Exactly.
Okay.
It's very personal.
All right. I'm ready. Let me prepare. Okay, go.
So what we're going to do is we have a number of random evils
In
which
envelopes.
we have in envelopes. Call back to Would You Rather.
Yes, exactly. It's envelopes and everything. Okay.
But we
Would You
have-
Rather is a film that Jeffrey was starred in.
That's right.
Right. For anybody who's not familiar with his
Yep.
oeuvre.
It's available on Netflix.
So you can pronounce oeuvre, but you can't say debris. This is really good.
I got a better one.
Of course I can pronounce ovary. What are you talking about?
Oh, Jeffrey, I have a better one. Hey, Torrin, what happens if you accidentally kill somebody? What's that called?
Well, you get charged for manslaughter.
Man's laughter.
Yeah.
He's right about that.
Yeah, that's true. That one's true.
What's the problem?
Yeah, no, I don't see a problem either.
So we have the random evils, but we also have a control evil.
All right.
This is
so
like
everyone,
the bucket of water in the film.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, in the film, you are kind of the evil mastermind of this game, the Would You Rather game.
Well, I'm the MC.
Right. And in the film, it's a bucket of water. If you can either choose what's in the envelope or you are submerged for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Right.
So our bucket of water.
Mystery option or a known entity that you know is questionable.
Yeah.
From 2012, Rio de Janeiro. This is a real story.
Okay.
The family of an elderly Brazilian woman have filed a lawsuit against the hospital they say is responsible for her death after one of the nursing technicians injected soup into the woman's vein IV instead of her feeding tube. Though the hospital does not deny the mistake was made, they claim it was not responsible for the 88-year-old.
Okay, wait.
Ill.
Wait. First of all, who the fuck injects soup into a feeding tube?
Brazilians is the answer.
The feeding tube wouldn't have been a problem. They've injected it into her IV.
Well, I get that, but
Yeah.
still, would you go, chicken noodle soup? I'm going to stick that in
Well,
her.
I'm guessing it wasn't chicken noodle. That would get in the syringe. It would jam
I
up the
don't
works.
know.
Oh, you didn't think it was like chunky
But yeah,
clam chowder or something?
clam chowder, maybe.
I'm thinking it was probably colder out, so they went with a cream.
Listen, you gotta figure it was because otherwise they'd say broth.
It would gotta go like a lobster bisque. Could fit in a syringe, right? A creamy tomato with
Alphabet
basil.
vegetable soup.
A borscht?
absolutely.
A borscht, maybe?
Borscht,
A
absolutely.
borscht?
But it is Brazil, so
Okay,
I'm sure.
so he accidentally put soup
into the veins of
intravenous
88-year-old.
instead of her feeding tube into her stomach.
Yes.
Correct. This is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ilda Vitor Maciel's had a seizure that followed towards her death.
That's unbelievable.
However, the form requesting an autopsy, which was signed by one of the hospital's doctors, stated accident was the likely cause of death and suggested it caused a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in the lung. Maciel was admitted to hospital after suffering a stroke, which paralyzed one side of her body. Her family said she was showing signs of improvement before the soup incident. Maciel's son said he even spoke with his mother on Sunday, and she seemed to be doing well considering the situation. According to the family.
But she asked for a little salt and pepper. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
There was a fly, and that was the
Actually,
problem. There was a fly in her
No,
soup.
the soup in her IV wasn't the trouble. Is when they followed it up with crackers.
Okay. All right.
According to the family, the nurse technician injected the soup into Maciel's right arm. Maciel then
It's very
began...
important because the left arm.
Yeah, that was fine.
she'd
Yeah,
be-
that's right.
Yeah.
Then began to have a seizure, and that's when the nurse technician ran out of the room to get a nurse. A
Or he just ran.
Yeah,
that could be too.
Fled the
I quit.
premises.
I quit.
I'm outta
That's
here.
it. I'm out.
A doctor
Okay.
was also called in, and Maciel was given medication to stop the seizure. 12 hours later, Maciel was dead. So this is the control evil.
Can
So
I ask
this-
a question, Torn?
Yes.
Food poisoning.
Did the nurse get a tip afterward?
Ooh.
Or was it just no tip?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, waiter.
That's right.
Okay.
I have an
so,
old lady in my soup.
So what's my choice here?
Well, why don't you take these 4 envelopes, choose one, and then pass the rest out?
Okay.
And we will read them, and each person will have their own evil that they have to weigh against.
1, 2. I'm taking 3.
Taking evil 3. All right. I'll go with evil 1.
You already?
Sounds-
Do you know? None of you know.
No, well,
you
I
know
packed
what's
the
in
envelopes,
there.
but I didn't look.
And,
You
that's-
didn't
and he
look.
also selected last.
Okay.
So
So we open them.
yes,
Open them up.
please. All right. So who's going to start, Torn? Or will we read them all out and then?
Yeah, let's read them all up.
Okay, great. My personalized evil is to have my brain sucked out through your eye by an insane Crawford Tillinghast with his pineal gland flapping about.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've done that.
yeah.
That's from Beyond.
From Beyond, correct.
Being vivisected alive by Dr. Richard Vanikut in House on Haunted Hill.
There you go.
I would have to be strangled to death by the entrails of a corpse reanimated by Dr. Herbert West.
All right.
And I would be trapped in a collapsed crypt with various patchwork corpse rejects reanimated by Herbert West, as from Bride of a Reanimator.
Right.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm not going out on a limb. I'm going to state a fact. I do love soup.
Right.
I have on more than one occasion, started to eat soup and filled myself up that I didn't have any room left over for the meal that was supposed to follow afterwards. That I have gone over the top with soup.
Do you have taste buds in your veins, sir?
So the question I'm posed here is: would I rather have soup injected into my veins,
Yes.
Which calls a pulmonary embolism.
or would I rather be vivisected alive by Dr. Vanikut?
That's
Correct.
right.
Those are my choices.
How do you
Yes.
feel about those choices?
Well, this is my thought. I think that I should take the soup in my vein, and then Dr. Vanikut could vivisect me and get it out.
I like it.
And that way
interesting.
I would live.
Yeah.
I guess according
That's
to the story,
why.
you're taking both of the evils right off the top.
I don't know. I'd do the soup.
Well,
I don't. This I would.
We've got
like.
to talk about their general merits. Their merits and demerits.
Merits?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I said relative merits.
Relative merits?
Yes, relative to having my brain sucked out through my eye by.
For
Crawford
example,
Tillinghast.
you would get to look at someone who you'd get to
This
watch
I
someone
would-
who looks
this I
exactly
would
like
wa-
yourself.
This I would watch. The other one I wouldn't be aware of what the hell's going on.
Precisely.
So
Precisely.
I think I'd rather be ignorant of my death as opposed to witnessing it.
Right.
All right. Although I am also an egomaniac.
Right.
Right. So the question is, if this were to happen, would I then be the victim in From Beyond from this point forward? Would the, in the film itself?
No,
Well-
you'd be dead.
Yeah. Because Crawford Tillinghast he
Suck your
craves,
brain out.
craves brains.
You're done.
Oh, no, absolutely. But what I'm asking is then, me personally, Kevin Leeson,
Yes.
would I now be,
You'd be in-
the movie?
Yeah. Oh, you'd have a part in the
Would
movie?
I now have the part in the movie?
Yeah, you'd
I
have
mean,
a part in the movie.
Yeah, I would have had my brain sucked
So
out, but I would at least be.
You'd have a film credit.
I'd have a film credit. Precisely.
Right.
That's a good point.
That's a
really
relative
good.
merit.
That's a really good point. But
It's a
we can
relative
all
merit.
make that point.
But I would have been killed by the great Jeffrey Combs.
Well, see, here's the thing that's problematic with mine is that I would be vivisecting myself because
Right.
I am Dr. Vanikut. So
Pro or con?
that's that would probably be good because at least I'd be kind to myself.
Oh
maybe.
yes, okay.
You think you get the gentle vivisection?
I get the gentle vivisection, the humane vivisection. Yeah.
I have a question about my way to go because I'm going to be strangled by entrails. of a corpse.
Right.
Now-
Intestines. It was to be accurate. It was
Okay,
intestines.
What did the corpse eat before he strangled
Oh, good.
Because if he
question.
had soup,
yeah. That's
then I'm going to take entrails. But if he didn't have soup, I'm going to go with injection.
Warren, what
you
do you
want
like?
you want that soup.
Either way,
one
I'm
way or
getting
the other.
soup. Yeah.
Right after this podcast, you're getting soup.
Oh boy, am I!
Well, no. Right before this podcast, he went to Lardo's, and so a Portland institution.
That's true.
So the question: what if it had Lardo's, but it were being strangled by entrails full of Lardo's?
If it were duck soup, you'd be in a Groucho Marx movie.
That's true. I'd probably get hit an awful lot before being strangled. So I think I'll go with the soup in that case.
Okay.
Because those Marx brothers were pretty mean to one another.
That's true.
Now, I hate soup.
Oh, well, there
I'm
you
going to
go.
flat out say I'm not a soup fan.
All right.
And trapped in a collapsed crypt with various patchwork corpse rejects reanimated by Herbert West. It's not so bad.
That's not bad.
Wait.
That's not. I think
might
I got
get to like
I
him.
think the best one of all of the four mystery.
wait,
And you might not be dead. You'd just
That's
be
true.
kind of trapped.
because your co-stars did pull themselves out of the
exactly.
of the ground.
And if you really got hungry, you have options.
Right.
and it's not soup.
And it's not soup.
Oh, maybe then it's his head that with the entrails full of corpses that strangles Warren.
Do you want to be strangled by my entrails? Because we can arrange that.
Well, I
have
know you
not
don't
yet
like
written-
soup.
I have not yet written my will.
Would you be when you die? Are you killed by soup?
Not in the crypt.
Not in the crypt.
Not
no.
in a crypt.
No.
So Torn,
still
you're
gonna go with soup
choosing
injection
you're
then.
choosing the crypt like it's not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah,
No,
it's
he's
a-
thrown into the crypt. Doesn't even say you die, actually.
It's a little wiggle room there.
yeah, you got a narrow window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Warren, you're definitely going.
I'm
with,
going for whichever option affords me soup.
all right,
Because
okay.
I like yourself. I like soup.
Yeah.
I'm a soup man.
Yeah.
And
A
on
soupaholic.
those cold Canadian nights, nothing beats a good piping bowl of soup.
I'm going with vivisecting myself.
Oh, he's
yes.
gone all the way around. I like it.
Nice.
Okay.
I think just in honor of our special guest, I'm going to go with the far more horrible fate.
Yes.
Just for the opportunity to have had my brain sucked out through my eyeball by a thespian like yourself.
Well, call your agent and get as good a billing as you can. Okay.
I want the and
And
at the very end.
and
Yeah.
Now is the time when we promote our upcoming projects.
have any plugs?
go ahead. I really
I'm
don't
recording
because
Caustic
I don't
Soda
have
right
any.
now. Well, what about The Gathering?
That is so bogus.
Oh,
What?
I have to tell you.
tell me.
Maybe about 5 years ago, this rumor went out. There was actually a poster. Whoever put this movie together put an unauthorized poster out
Oh,
there
okay.
with all of these wonderful actors as if we had signed on for this project.
In an attempt to raise financing, probably.
Yes, and then 3-4 years go by, and then all of a sudden it popped up again. Something that you've discovered there. It does not exist. My agent has never been approached.
Oh, okay.
And there is no start date. I have read a script though, and it was actually pretty good. But
Right.
after that.
In this
nothing.
theoretical movie, you'd be playing Edgar Allan Poe.
In this theoretical movie, which actually has a kind of a good premise, where all of the great horror writers are in hell, and
nice.
and they sit around and try to scare each other with stories.
Oh, it's the setting for Frankenstein. It's how Mary Shelley came up with the idea for Frankenstein.
Exactly. In fact, she's one of the characters.
Oh, there you go.
And so, but it went nowhere.
All right.
That's
Good
too bad.
times.
So there you go.
Do you have anything that's coming up in the near future that's about to be released or has just been released? Or
Well, let me think about it.
you're
No,
excited about?
not really.
All right.
Not really. I wish I could say so. Actually, nothing I can talk about. But
There
really,
you go.
it's kind of
We'll
it's
insert
kinda-
something later in post-production.
Yes, go ahead. Sure.
We're going to poll the audience for wild speculation later. So.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure there's more unauthorized posters out there even as we speak.
There are.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I've had a great time. You guys are a lot of fun keeping the ball in the air here, and go back to Vancouver and learn how to pronounce debris. That's all.
I do not
That's
know
my
what you're
advice
talking
to you.
about. I do not understand that word you said.
You have a whole French province, and you don't know how to pronounce debris.
Thank you very much.
You guys are great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
thank
sir.
you, audience, for
Yes.
Pleasure.
We got a
I have a
Caustic Soda
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
Yes.
Are you size large?
Medium.
Medium? That's a medium.
Perfect. Yay! Woo!
Thank you, everybody, for coming out to the show.
You guys are great. Thank you.
A lot of fun.
It's such a weird feeling to know you're alive. It's such an awful feeling. You're dying inside, and when you wake up, starting to say, I hope I don't go crazy today. It's such a bad feeling, an ominous feeling, a feeling you know that we'll be back when the week is new. And we'll have more gross facts for you. And you'll have things you want to hear about. We will too.
Caustic Soda was recorded by Mike Leeson, held in a stress position after being deprived of sleep for 96 hours. To comment on episodes and for links and show notes, visit causticsodapodcast.com. Support the podcast by donating on our site or visit patreon.com/causticsoda. Visit us on Facebook, tweet us on Twitter @CausticPodcast. Email us at info@causticsodapodcast.com. I'm Derek Weber. Thanks for listening.
Do-do, 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 do-do.